Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Let's gather. Today might be one of them days that we're going to be a short message. I think we already have someone here with us. Good morning, Paula. Happy Sunday. I like that one. I've never heard of Sunday. Happy Sunday. Yes, today is a great day. I didn't sleep that great. How did y'all sleep? I didn't sleep that great. If y'all don't know, I live in Oklahoma, and we've been having like a lot of crazy weather over here. So I was reading reports. I don't know if how accurate it was, but anytime we keep hearing like tornadoes, I just feel like, all right, God, let me just keep one eye open. Don't sleep too hard because I have slept through the tornado sirens. I have slept through that 2 times. I think they have gone off 4 times. I definitely slept through the first one. I do believe I slept through another one, but 2 of them I was like aware of what was going on. But yeah, so I think I'm like extra tired today. But once I start talking to y'all, the vibe changes, energy changes. So you never know. You never know. So what are we talking about today? So again, for those of you that are joining on the replay, hello, I'm Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. I am in the middle of 21 days of going live. It is a challenge that I gave myself as I thrive and live and embrace being Miss Inspiration in all aspects of my life. And this is one aspect that was being neglected, connecting and just growing with my community. So this is why I'm here. And today is day 10. But I do encourage you to go back to the different videos for the first 9 days. Everything is up on all platforms: Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. YouTube, we're building a nice little community over there. So if you want to join us live at 7 a.m. Central Time, you convert that to your time zone. You can definitely meet us over there. We have had an amazing group of women join us there in the mornings. But you can also join on a replay. So you can hashtag replay so I know that you were there, that you're still getting the messages. You can still engage even though we're not live. I do go back and check those comments as well. And if you are not subscribe to whichever platform that you're following. And let's just stay connected because this is how we continue to grow and learn with one another. So today is day 10, and this is actually one I talk about quite often. Excuse me. I talk about this quite often. Why I cringe when people call me inspirational. So I'm going to be very 100 with everyone. I actually struggle with receiving compliments. I struggle with receiving recognition, right? That is actually something that present day I still struggle with. And it really became, I won't say like an issue, but it became a topic of conversation with one of my old supervisors. One of my old supervisors wanted to recognize me just in general for something in front of everyone. And I was like, no. Good morning, Suzanne. Suzanne's back with us today as well. Yes, we got Suzanne. We got Paul on the line. Good morning. So yes, I just struggle with that kind of recognition. Anyone else struggle with that kind of recognition? Just not doing well with someone, highlighting a special gift or a skill that you're just doing. Let me know in the comments if you also struggle with that. I know that I struggle with it because I'm a very humble person, and God rest the soul of one of my good friends, Ed. Ed passed away last year. Actually, it's about to be a year to his death. But I remember I had posted something on Facebook, and I was talking about that. I was talking about not being comfortable. Morning, Bola, not being comfortable and just being, humble. Like, I just want to be humble. And he was like, humble is nice. He was like, but sometimes you have to allow other people to acknowledge you, to give you your kudos because you're great at whatever it is that you do. Uh, Paula said, compliments are my kryptonite. I'm working on it this year. We're working on it together. Working on this together, definitely, Paula, because that is something that a lot of people do struggle with. And so when people started saying to me, "Oh, you're so inspirational," how that name came up. So I don't know if I told you how that name came up. So it was definitely like 2017. So I've been doing things, amazing things since 2012, 2013. I've been doing amazing things. I've done amazing things my entire life, and that I can acknowledge, right? I've accomplished a lot of different things, and I know that I've accomplished a lot of different things. But I'm one of those people that's like, I don't need you to tell me that I'm great at what I do. That's how my mind process. Like, I know, so and it's not cocky, but it's just like, yeah, y'all don't need that. Y'all can spend that time to talk about something else. So my old supervisor was the one that was like, no, you're gonna stand. Well, we was on virtue, but he was like, you're gonna receive this. You're gonna receive these compliments. You're gonna receive it, and it was so emotional because I had coworkers that I did not do work with closely, or we probably have not worked on a project together since like 2020, and they were sharing how I had impacted them with my work, just the things that I was doing. And it felt so uncomfortable, but I had to stand and receive that because sometimes you just need to hear other people clap for you. You need to hear other people recognize how your greatness, right? Because you're great at what you're doing. You know that. I know that. But it is great for your peers and for others to identify that and to acknowledge that as well. So this is something that I'm still struggling with, and I know that I'm not alone. That I do know. So at least I know I'm not alone. Thank you for sharing that, Paula. And so yeah, so when I started sharing my stories, and I think the first time that I heard like you're so inspirational or you're such an inspiration was after the young lady who wanted to be my manager. She had invited me. No, I wanted her to be my manager. I stand corrected. But she had invited me to be her co-host on a radio show. See, y'all probably didn't even know that. I was on an actual radio show back in New York, up in Harlem. And when she, so she was like, so you have to meet with the executive director of the radio station. Because, this was volunteer. Like, we were volunteering our time, but you still had to get like a pass, be in the system, because it was at a college campus. And I forgot what we were talking about. But this lady literally was like, oh my gosh, like I needed this. This is exactly what I needed. Like, you're such an inspiration. And literally, this girl she was like, yo, you should start going by Miss Inspiration. And that became like the name of my segment. And I was just like, I mean, that sounds cute, but is it real? And this lady confirmed it in my interview. And so I understand, like, that's when I started to realize this was bigger than a weight loss story, because I was sharing with her what I had just gone through with the miscarriage and, how I heard God's voice that led me to the hospital at that right time, because I didn't know that there was anything wrong. I felt fine. I felt tired. When you find out, like, oh, I'm tired because I'm pregnant, okay, that just made sense to me logically. But then when I got to the hospital, they was like, oh, no, we're happy that you're here because the fetus already erupted. I had an ectopic pregnancy. And I'm just telling her these things, because she was also a Christ believer. And, she was just like, she struggles sometimes. And I think that's why I really feel like God just be sending me out here to share these stories and share what I have gone through to help someone just boost their faith up, right? Just get that faith back up to a new level, because where they at, they don't have that level of faith. And that's just what I truly believe. And so I have to learn how to not cringe with that, because, someone needs that boost. If you've ever seen Elf, the movie Elf, I love that movie. And towards the end of the movie, when they find, Santa's book and Michael, the young man, the little brother, Michael was like, telling Santa, well, we have the book, we got the news out there, we can go and tell the news and we can read this, and or you can go and everyone will believe in Christmas again. And it was like, no, they should believe in Christmas because without having to see me. So it's very similar to what we talk about in Christianity, where we say, you have to walk by faith, right? You don't need to see it in order for us to believe it. And that image, that scene just kind of just came back to me because that's what I feel like a lot of people, they're operating at a very low frequency when it comes to faith. And so they need people like us that's going to go out here and is going to share and let them know this is what I went through. And this is, in so many cases, this is how I got through it. And then in other cases, they're just showing you and sharing with you so that you can know that you're not the only person. And we spoke about this yesterday. So you can go back if you're like, I was here, I remember yesterday's message was a great message. I sent that to a few people and received many, many, many compliments about yesterday's message. But that a lot of that had to do with you all that was here live, because when you engage, we're able to have these conversations. So a few things that, there's other things that some people might struggle. They might struggle with still being seen. So that's why they don't, they cringe when they're like, oh my gosh, don't recognize me, or, don't give me no compliments, or don't call me that name that I secretly want to be called, because I introduce myself. I mean, now, like, I'm not like one of those cringe people where you meet in like the supermarket and be like, hey, sweetheart, what's your name? My name is Tanisha. Your name, Miss Inspiration. Like, I'm not that bad. But like when I am, again, Tulsa Remote. Tulsa Remote is the program of how I got to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we have a community. So like my profile, we use Slack. My profile has Miss Inspiration. I became a Slack moderator, and in that Slack moderator, Mondays I try to put up like an inspirational quote, because again, if this is who I am, this is who I'm going to be in every aspect of my life, especially if you give me the ability to do it. And so I hashtag it Miss Inspiration, and so now there are people who are becoming familiar with me, and they know, oh, that's Miss Inspiration. Like, she's the one that's also always posting inspirational messages. She posts, different quotes. So I'm really learning to thrive in it. But it's just like sometimes it's still like, I'm gonna just sit in the corner, or let me just hide over here, and we have to stop doing that, And so the fear, sometimes people might have a fear of living up to this name, or living up to this standard. And like I said, I know what I'm capable of doing. So like I said, I don't have a problem. I know that I can do it. I have done it. I've been doing it, but it's always something about other people now coming in and joining and being like, oh, you're this. Oh my gosh, you're so amazing. Learning how to just receive that feedback, that criticism, and it'd be good feedback. It's not like that they're saying anything bad to me. It's just sometimes it's just like I don't need to hear it. But God has been putting me in a season, and similar, like this is a part of that season. These 21 days, seeing people engage, seeing people comment on things, seeing people relate to it. It's like, this is why I need you to receive it. I need you to receive it and own it 100%, because this is what other people need as well, right? So, and we talked about that the other day. So many of us, we just need to know someone else has gone through it, or they're going through it with them, because that helps us to feel like it's valid, like our concerns are valid, our ideas are valid. Like, it gives us validation as well. But I just want you to know that you don't have to be perfect in order for people to recognize you. When people say, oh my gosh, you did a great job, or, oh my gosh, you was amazing, they're not saying that because you were perfect at it. They're just seeing how great you were doing it. And I think we just got to get away from this perfectionist. So that's actually one of the things that I had to heal from. So perfectionism was one of my flaws, because it's a good and it's a bad thing, but I see it more as it hinders people, because when people have this perfectionist spirit, they don't act until everything is perfect according to them. And again, that is going to always be a conflict for God because he doesn't need perfect. He can make it perfect in the moment, but we have to get out of our heads and we're just like, oh my gosh. And this is why a lot of us, we don't act because we're constantly waiting. So we definitely spoke about that yesterday in yesterday's message because it is so, so, so bad. Let's see what Suzanne had. I feel so weak sometimes, but I can't look back and see how strong and capable I've been to get through what I've been through by the grace of God, of course. Absolutely, Suzanne. Absolutely. And I think that's the part. I think, at least for me, I do believe God wants us to, we need to reflect sometimes. Like I hear certain speakers talk about, it doesn't matter, like, we don't care about what you accomplished in the past, like what's next. And a lot of people have that mentality, and that's actually a very unhealthy mentality because that's how we can go back and you can give yourself kudos. Like if you can look and reflect on your life and see where you were strong, where you were capable, when you was overachieving, you was achieving, you knocked out them goals before their time, that's a huge win, right? And we need to sometimes reflect that. We need to reflect on that because that's like honestly how we can keep going, and I think the more that we do that, like I said, all of these every day is these 21 days, these journal prompts, these are just prompts. I'm just speaking through it. I would love for you to take this and go and get you a journal and write through it, right? Because this is going to help someone as they are learning how to also live and thrive as the person that they're supposed to be, that you're called to be. This is the whole purpose of it. So I hope that if you are joining in and you're seeing these one of these prompts, it's prompting you to go get that book and go sit somewhere in a silent space and have those conversations with God as well. God, how can I stop cringing? Because some people always cringe. They cringe at every single thing, anything that is positive about them. And we definitely have to stop that because, when you get to, I think about that dream. If you've been with me most of the week, these last 10 days, you have heard me talk about that dream when I was 5. Imagine being on a stage with a mic in your hand. You just spoke, you just sung, you just danced, you just did something. And all these people are going to clap at the end. Like they're going to respond. And oftentimes your audience can see when you're uncomfortable. They can see that. It's very visible. And they're now clapping like, oh my gosh, like it was, they're crying and all these different things. And you're just like, you're scared or you just run off. Like, we got to learn how to stand in that. We got to learn how to be like, look, I did that. Yes. You don't have to do anything crazy, but you can just receive it. And I know that for a long time, I didn't receive that. I didn't receive any of these things. And now is the time to start saying it's time to start receiving it. All right, let's see. We got some comments in here. So Paula said, in a work environment, I learned quickly to recognize and speak my wins. Perfect. At least you learned that. Because I still be like I will let other people. So something will happen. I work with faculty members. And I coach faculty members, like new online faculty members who are teaching or about to come and teach. And I will let them come in and they'll come and they'll send emails and stuff. So I have like built a portfolio of just like praises, but it still takes me, to be like, oh my gosh, these people recognize me. Oh, well, I did this, it's still a little bit hard. But continuing what Paula said, but in my personal life, I'm still learning to embrace the kindness of the show with their compliments. Yep. Woo. Yep. And that's so ironic because I was talking to someone about that a few years ago. And I remember this conversation so vivid because I had made a comment. There are some people who are very confident in one aspect of their life, but they're not confident in the other aspect of their lives. And somebody was like, how is that even possible? And I was like, yeah, there's some people, they can go to work, they can show up, show out, they know what they're doing. They're walking in with the suits. You know, if it's a man, he may have on his 3-piece suit. A lady, she may have on her suit, her dress, and she just walking in, they're confident. But when they get into that personal life, it's like it all just goes away. And so many people don't understand. It's just not just a natural thing. It just doesn't happen naturally and organically for every single person, right? Some of us struggle with one or both, and it depends on the situation. It could be both. So yes, that's so common. And Suzanne said, yes, we all need to embrace the gifts we were given. Miss Inspiration is definitely yours. Oh, Suzanne, I appreciate that. All right. I appreciate that. I needed that. I needed that. Thank you so much. So, so you have this note. As I wrote this note down, I'm up here like looking through my notes, like, okay, what's all I want to touch on? So how to use God. So God uses our imperfect stories to inspire other people. And, so many times we don't have to feel like an inspiration to be one. I know that before people started calling me Miss Inspiration, before that miscarriage, God was still allowing me to inspire people. And so we just really, and actually I saw a post, Eric Thomas, oh, you guys are gonna make me cry no more. It's too early, it's too early, it's too early. I can't be crying this morning. No. Paula chimed in with Suzanne with what I said. Yeah, she's a confident trainer at work, but so awkward with people in your personal life. We're on the same page, Suzanne. We're on the same page. So yesterday, Eric Thomas, E.T. the hip hop preacher, shout out to him. He had said in a post that partial disobedience is still disobedience. I think it's something like, but no, partial obedience is disobedience. And I posted that on my stories on Instagram. And that's actually true, so a lot of us, we will go into a situation and we don't feel like in this moment I'm going to be an inspiration, right? In this moment I don't think I'm going to have any impact. But that doesn't matter. You still need to be obedient, right? You need to still be obedient because, again, everything is going back to us serving for God's glory, right? We have to keep that in mind. We have to understand that anytime and everything that we're doing, these are going to impact someone else. And every time that we think, well, I don't need this recognition or this recognition is not necessary, it's a part of it because he also knows what we need, right? And I think a lot of us, especially if you do struggle with receiving compliments and you do struggle with receiving recognition, God, I don't think is going to stop sending those people because it's still a part of our healing, right? Because he wants us to get to a point where we walk boldly and authentically in it. Because look at the people out here. There's a lot of people out here who are walking boldly in their gifts and they are strutting their stuff and you can't tell them nothing. And they might not even be that good. But they're confident in it. They're walking boldly in it. They're owning it. And so we have to continue to heal that part of us. This is why I say, anytime people say to me, oh, you always talk about healing, healing is not a destination. You're correct. Healing is not a destination. We always have something to heal from. And God is always going to bring up certain things to help us to heal because he wants us to be comfortable in doing all of the things that we're supposed to do. He knows before we know that we're going to sit here and be like, are you sure you want me? You know how many times I've gotten opportunities to speak and do workshops at schools. And I'm like, you put your bid in. This is the crazy part. You participate in the preparation of them making a decision. So you're putting the bid in a lot of times to do professional developments, or you sending them a proposal, and now they agree to it, and they're like, yeah, we want to, and then they agree to the same price that you may put out, and you're just like, wait, you agreeing to this? Like, you okay with this? Are you sure? And they're like, yeah, I watch your videos because a lot of times when I send proposals, I will send like a video clip of me speaking so that they can kind of engage and see what kind of person that I am when I show up in person. But it's still difficult sometimes, right? And so again, shifting back to the conversation, I just want us to get back to where we just can fully just own our gift. We can embrace it. We can shift the mindset, and we can just be confident in it, and just know that when people are saying these things to you, that they mean it, right? Because trust me, in my opinion, I believe that it's harder for people to give compliments just as hard as it is for us to receive compliments, right? And the reason why I say that, you can look on social media. People who, it's easy for them to throw out negativity, right? It's so easy. They'll talk about you bad, right? They'll find something. Somebody will watch this video clip and will find something in this and talk crap. They'll be like, oh, we can see the ring light in her glasses. They'll focus on that. Forget about the messages. Forget about the lives that are being taken. It's so easy for them to spit out negativity. And the people who also struggle with giving a good compliment, they might just say something like very vague, not really too in detail. They just might be like, I mean, that was cute. Oh, I see you. It's not a real, like, true compliment. So I do believe that if someone is coming to you and highlighting a gift, a skill, a talent, an ability of who you are, and they are able to like fully explain it, that means that they really mean that, right? So we should not take that for anything small, because I know I have seen many people who don't say anything as in depth. They'll just be like, oh, that was nice. Oh, that was a great message. But then God will send that one person who's going to be like, oh my gosh, this was impactful. This touched my life. Oh my God, I just they feel the anointing, whatever it is, however they're going to word it for you. And them people will sit there and say it, right? So I do believe that. So Suzanne said, it goes back to strengthening faith. If you're in God's will, he would give you the strength, the confidence, and the work we need. Yep. I ain't even got to say anything. Suzanne said it. We have to, this is how faith is going to be. God, I don't know who's going to show up, but I'm going to be there. God, I know I might not look the way that I want if I look, but I'm going to have faith that they're going to see me the way that you see me. Like, we just got to go in there. We just got to show up. I think at the end of the day, good morning. Good morning, Doc. Doc is back with us. He said he's over on Instagram. He said, I definitely used to struggle receiving compliments. Join the conversation. We are over here talking about it, Doc. I'm still struggling, and Suzanne and Paula have had moments too. So we are definitely, you are in the right company, right? And so when we don't have that faith and we don't tap into that faith, this is when God just be like, and I always laugh. I always say, anytime that we need something, confidence, strength, motivation, drive, ambition, and we never go to God, right? Sometimes I feel like God just be in a room, and he just be like this. And it's like always that meme, those skits where they be like, with Tyler Perry from the movie, when it's like, do you see me? Do I see you? And it's like, I truly believe God just be sitting there like, can they just come to me? Because if we ask him for it, he's going to give it to us. Unless it's according to his will. Now, if you're just asking him for something and good well is not good for you, yeah, it's not going to, it might not happen. But I truly do believe like God was just sit there and be like, if they don't just ask me, like, and that's what I had to do, right? I had to get to that point in my life, like when I didn't feel confident, when I didn't feel, sure going into whether it's a new opportunity as a teacher or as an opportunity to just speak any spaces, even when I go out, to social gatherings that I know is going to have networking events. I literally pray before I walk in, and I'm just like, God, give me the confidence that I need to walk in here. Give me the, allow my voice to be heard, but, walk for me, speak for me, hear for me, and just be present in this entire engagement. And so many people, they're like, you do that? And I'm like, yeah, because I know that if human Tanisha is going to just go in there and just be quiet, get her a cup of drink, a cup of cup of water, tea, whatever the environment is, and I'm just going to sit there. But I know that that's not how God works. So I have to prepare myself because I have come to an agreement with God. I know when you send me into these spaces, anything can happen. I have understood that anything can happen when God puts me into these spaces. So I have to now prepare myself. And there's been sometimes nothing has happened, no conversations, nothing profound, and that's fine too, right? That makes my day, my night easier whenever I'm there. But when I know, like, he could say, he could be like, go ahead, go ahead. And this even sometimes sharing, you know, you don't realize that a person might not be listening, they might not be there to meet with you, but they hear you, right? And so I remember, if y'all ever come to Tulsa, you got to come down to Black Wall Street, the Greenwood area, and we have a Black Wall Street Liquid Lounge. It is a coffee shop, delicious coffee, tea, lemonades, hot chocolates, you name it, they have it. And that's like one of my favorite spots to go to, and I like to work there. And I had connected with someone and we met there. So we're talking, this was the end of last year. So now we're talking about our travels for the start of the year. And I'm telling her what I'm going to do. And this young lady just came up to us and she was like, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to not listen to what you're saying, but I hear everything. And I need to be connected to y'all. Like, you're inspiring me to want to go and travel more and see the world, because I was going to, if you don't know, I went to Medellin at the beginning of the year. I was going for, it was supposed to have been for a month, but I was going for 6 weeks. And she was like, I need to be around people like that. And she was like, you guys are just inspiring me to just think bigger, And I was just like, sometimes you don't even know that, that morning I didn't pray that prayer. But because we were having such a great conversation and someone else was able to tap in and get a little bit of it, they were able to now walk away. And that young lady, I gave her my number. I did it old school. I wrote it on a piece of paper. Because she was in the middle of having a conversation and I had to go. So I didn't want to like, hey, give me a number. So, but I hopefully one day I run into her again. And if not, I hope that she's out there just doing whatever it was, whatever she caught on that caught her attention. I hope that she applied it. And, that's what I also get. So sometimes people don't realize it could be, you can inspire people in the smallest way. It doesn't have to always be these big, profound moments. She didn't have to hear about how I almost lost everything in 2016. She didn't need to hear all of those things. She heard what she heard, and it was something that ignited in her. It ignited something in her, and it said, and she was just like, I want to take a piece of that, and I want to run with it. That's how I feel that God wants us to be present, right? He just wants us to continue to share these things because there's a lot more. And I think I had said this on day 8. There's a lot of people that don't have a Tanisha in their life, right? The same way I didn't have a Bola in my life until God sent me Bola. Bola is my friend who's normally joined in on Instagram. So we just got to sometimes share these things, and you have to be okay with, I had to learn how to also be okay with people not wanting me to be Miss Inspiration, right? And so I think about when I worked at this crazy tutoring place back in the day, there was a moment where I was with my supervisor, the owner of the business, and he didn't want me to do something. No, I was speaking to a parent. The parent was literally having a breakdown. She couldn't figure out how she was going to pay the full tuition for her child. And God just led me to say something to her. And, he was like, "You don't have time for that." And I was like, "I'm always going to make time to speak life into someone." I said, because I remember when the strangers that God sent into my life to speak life into me. I'm never going to miss that opportunity, especially when I know that God is telling me to do it, right? That's how I operate. And I told him, that's how I really just knew I wasn't going to last at that company for long, because his morals, his integrity, everything was just it was in the waste. It was in trash. And I was just like, that's just who I am. Like, I'm Miss Inspiration, and I'm going to be obedient. That's the one thing that I had learned, especially at that space in my life. Girl, you better be obedient. My obedience is so important. And so I just, I had to just embrace that. And I had to just understand this is what, God wants me to do. This is how he wants me to do it. No arguments for me, Lord. No arguments. So, it's not always going to be the grand gestures. And I just want people to understand that. So, I think I'm done today. Any questions? Any questions? I see Doc is in and out on what's some people on Instagram. Any questions? Any comments? So, I do want to bring your attention to two things. So, God just did put this on my heart last night. And again, you don't have to. But if you would like to sow into this challenge, into this word, into these words that we have been articulating for the last couple of days, 10 days. Yeah, 10 days. I'm so proud to be at 10 days, y'all. Y'all don't even understand. I'm proud of myself. But if you would like to sow into this, to these words and these teachings, pay my Cash App and PayPal is down below. But as always, ladies, if you are looking for a community, gentlemen, I'm still praying. I don't know. I need to merge the two together, but Inspirational Trailblazers, you can absolutely go ahead and join. And it is a community of like-minded individuals who are looking to start their healing journey. They are looking to actually get out there and live and identify and live within their purpose. And they're looking for a community where they can grow, where they can feel safe, where they can ask questions, where they can learn at their speed and at the way that makes sense to them. A lot of the workshops that I do for my members are at the request of my members. So we will be doing a masterclass where we do talk about things like how to build digital products. Some of my clients, they are already practitioners. They might be practitioners as far as like a life coach or as a social worker, and they want to know how can they provide these resources to their clients without having to either pay for them and getting licensed, because some stuff costs hundreds and thousands of dollars. So I'm going to teach them how to create their own tools that they can use. Some of them they can just get for free, and then others they can, put it up on Amazon or Etsy, and they can sell it themselves directly. So we are going to be doing that. That's going to be a workshop that will be available. So before the 21 days is over, this is going to be open to everyone. But the only difference is, in order for you to get access to the free resources that will come with that, and also the recordings, is only going to be available to Inspirational Trailblazers. So if you go to my link tree, if you're on YouTube, I already put the I already put the direct link into it, and you can also use code March25, and that will give you 50% off for the first 3 months. And we do have an Inspirational Trailblazer here with us. Miss Paula is a trailblazer, so these are her words. I'm not paying her to do it. I'm not asking her. This is her words. These are her experiences. She's been a member for 3 months now, 4 months. So she finds value in it. So join us, join Paula, and join myself and other people, right? And it is. And, one thing, when it comes to community, I never want people to feel like they can't get the experience that they need. So I definitely do make it easier for the pockets. because I know that people do need community. And trust me, I know other people was doing very similar things, and their pocket, I mean, their amount is like nothing compared. So yeah, so this is a member, but yeah, so you can go ahead and you can join us, and we will be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Central Time. Tomorrow is Monday, and we are going to have a great time. But I am going to put the direct links. If you do, oh God, I haven't used PayPal in so long. But yeah, if you want to sew into this teaching, that's how I'm gonna just call it. I'm still not back at the space of understanding or accepting the ministry part of it. But yeah, you can definitely sew in, and if not, that's okay too. I'll be back tomorrow no matter what. So tomorrow's we are going to have another conversation, and we're going to be at day 11, which means that we're getting close to our 21 days, and hopefully by the end I will have a idea as to whether or not we're going to continue and to let this grow as well. But thank you for being here. Hope this message has been a blessing to you. And if, as always, if you have any questions, please, 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 you can DM me. You can find me. You're on Instagram, Tanisha Shanae, Facebook as well, Tanisha Shanae. I do. If we're not Facebook friends, you tend to go to the spam. I do check those message requested. I do check those messages quite often just to see if I'm missing anyone, because I don't want to miss anyone's message. But yeah, so have an amazing Sunday. Have a blessed Sunday. Do enjoy the weather wherever you are. Hopefully, you are not in the path of any of the crazy weather that's happening over in like the Midwest area. It passed us Friday, but I heard like tornadoes was happening. So please stay safe. I'm praying for you, your family, and for your friends and anyone that's just going through it. And Paula, no, thank you so much. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being present. Thank you for engaging. And same thing to you, Suzanne. You both have a blessed day. And for those that's watching it on the replay, have a blessed day as well. I am your girl, Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration.